Hi everybody, and welcome to another training video. Today we're going to talk about S&G and hardwood floors, and particularly hardwood floors over concrete substrates or concrete subfloors. I have with me today our local expert, Mr. Wayne Brumfield. And as you remember from his last training video, Wayne's been in the industry and was an installer for
23 years.
23 years. And he is actually a certified inspector. He's gone to school, passed the test, and tell me a little bit about that real quick.
Well, it was an involved process. I've got a certification to inspect floors, and I can get involved in litigation and court cases and things like that, though I never have. But it was a pretty intense course.
Okay, so you have a lot of actual knowledge of floor covering when it comes to testing and finding out why things have failed and haven't worked quite well.
Yeah.
Okay, well, great. Hey, with that being said, we want to talk about concrete subfloors. So, Wayne, tell me, when it goes into the concrete that they're putting down, what is that? And we all call it concrete, but what's it a mixture of?
It's a mixture of cement, sand, gravel, and water, really, is what it is. And there's a few other things that go into it, but by and large, that's what it is. It's a mixture of sand, cement, gravel, and water.
Okay, and when they're just starting to build a brand new house, walk me through that. What's the process when they pour the concrete?
They'll build forms and pour the liquid concrete in there and smooth it out basically, and then let it cure for about 30 days. And what we get is a very smooth, hard surface that's ready to accept finished flooring.
Okay, and the advantage, why are there so many more concrete subfloors in Northern California as opposed to the Bay Area?
Well, it's within the last 20 years or so, it's become really affordable to put in concrete floors. The cost of concrete's come way down. It's quicker, easier.
Okay, and as far as the disadvantage to concrete subfloors?
Well, the disadvantage to concrete floors would be that it will gather and hold moisture. When it rains outside, it's like a sponge, and it'll gather moisture much like a sponge does, and it can hold that moisture.
Okay, so let's say we go out and we measure a customer's home, and they currently have carpet in the family room, and it's on a concrete subfloor, and they want to put hardwood in. What's something that our salespeople should talk to the consumer in the store about, or the estimator on the job site?
Well, we should talk about the potential of moisture gathering in the slab at a later date and posing somewhat of a problem for that finished flooring. Our estimators should be doing a moisture test with their moisture meters at the point of estimate, and our salespeople ought to be talking to them about the results of that test at the point of sale. And as well, our installers ought to be checking with their moisture meters at the point of installation, just to verify that the moisture levels are acceptable at the time of installation.
Okay, and that is actually something we've created a form that we're going to start using in the next couple weeks, and these forms will be done in duplicate, so the consumer, when they sign off, will get a copy, as well as we'll keep a copy on file, just in case if there ever is an issue with the floor failing due to moisture from the subfloor. We'll both have something. And what would be the benefit to the consumer for this, having this document?
Well, they could go to the wood manufacturer, the adhesive manufacturer, their insurance company, or any interested party, and say, we did all our diligence at the time of installation, we did check the floor, here are the results.
Okay.
It just makes good sense.
Okay, so going back to the concrete, if you will. So why is it that in the past a customer would say, and knowing this, going through it myself as a store manager, heard all the time, or the few times it happened, that, you know, I never had a moisture problem when I had my carpet on it, but now you covered it up with the hardwood, and it seems like now I've got a moisture issue.
Yeah,
what's up with that?
That does happen. The concrete will hold the moisture, right? So when it rains outside, like the sponge, it gathers moisture, and the carpeting that's on top of the concrete is very porous, and it allows the moisture to evaporate through it very readily. So the moisture levels will change in the concrete. They call it off-gassing, and the concrete will off-gas through the carpet. Well, once we put that hardwood on top of it, the adhesive that we use is effectively caps it. It's designed to do that to protect the floor from any moisture that's in the concrete. When that happens, when we cap it, and the concrete gathers moisture, it will retain that moisture lots longer. So that adhesive will act as a barrier and also as a cap, keep the moisture in the concrete longer.
Okay, so it's almost like when you put that bowl of spaghetti from dinner last night in the refrigerator, you look at it the next morning, it's kind of got the water drops underneath the saran wrap.
Got water vapor on it, yeah.
Kind of the same thing, but
that
with
is
carpeting,
exactly.
it actually breathes.
Yep.
But once you put the hardwood and it's kind of sealed, the moisture has nowhere to go.
Right, it gathers up under there, right.
Okay. Now tell me real quick, what's the story about, you hear on grade, below grade, things like that?
Right, above grade concrete is concrete that's installed actually above the surrounding landscape line. That's probably the best case scenario, is that there's going to be less moisture intrusion into the concrete. On grade is where the concrete is actually built right onto or at the same level of the existing landscape. That's how most of the homes around here are built. Below grade is actually where they take a hillside and cut a chunk out of it and pour a slab in there. So the slab is usually surrounded on three sides by earth. That tends to be the situation where the majority of moisture problems occur.
Okay, so below grade is definitely something, kind of that red flag warning that this is definitely a potential problem.
Yes.
Above grade, not so much.
Yeah, not so much.
Okay. Now, can the local landscape, I guess their vegetation around the house or things that the consumer can do around the house, can that affect or cause issues?
Well, more times than not, that's what does cause an issue is poor drainage. So the consumer can make sure that they have adequate drainage on either, on all sides of their house, that they don't have any sprinklers that are shooting water on the slab. And sometimes French drains are needed to actually divert water that's passing by the house during rainstorms.
So something as simple as them having their sprinklers and them having the rainbird or a sprinkler just hitting their stucco on the side of the house can actually cause a wood floor to fail? Many
times, yeah. Has a great effect on the amount of moisture that's in the slab. Because where that sprinkler is shooting water on the slab, that moisture migrates through the concrete and will spread itself throughout the slab. When you get enough of that, the moisture levels go way up, and that could affect the finished flooring.
Okay. Now, let's say, how would you know that it's moisture from the slab? What happens to the wood when it's put down, and then you do run into a moisture problem?
The end joints tend to peak. They kind of do this. They'll raise. The grains will raise also, so that all across it you'll see a bumpy, sort of uneven texture, and in some cases the floor actually detaches from the concrete.
Wow. Okay, so it's pretty severe. There's not a whole lot you can do once the floor has been installed and you have this subfloor.
No, that's one of the reasons why we check ahead of time. We don't want to put ourselves or a consumer in harm's way by putting a floor in to a slab that we know has some sort of a sprinkler hitting it, or a leaky pipe, or that it is below grade, or any type.
Now, when you're on a concrete floor, there's only basically two ways to really install hardwood, right? And that's gluing it or floating it.
Yeah.
And I know we always float the laminate, and we never have the moisture problems. Would that be something we can offer to our consumers, to float the hardwood floors?
Absolutely, we can. By floating it, it creates a little bit of a channel for that moisture to evaporate without affecting the wood or the laminate or whatever floor you're floating.
Okay. Well, hey, tell you what, we're going to wrap it up here, running out of time. So few things to remember. Whenever you're dealing with a consumer asking about the subfloor they have, and if it's concrete, definitely got to get into a couple of the warning things and things that our estimators are going to do, as well as our installer. Again, they're going to have this sheet that we're going to ask them to sign, that they understand the issues with moisture. We're going to be talking about in our next video about the two different types of glue we're going to be carrying shortly, and we're going to be getting into maintenance. So thanks for watching, and hopefully you'll become more of an expert in the hardwood situation. Thank you, Wayne.
All right.